Hi guys, if you are new here, my name is Victoria. I am a breathwork facilitator, an actor, a writer, all the things based in Atlanta, and this week I am a dog mom as well. So you might see her pop in, you might hear her snoring. So in today's episode, I just wanted to talk about this podcast and what it's going to be. To be honest, it's probably going to change multiple times, but I've been having a lot of thoughts about how I want to show up in my business and just in general. And for a while now, I have been living two separate lives. I've been living as an actor and as a breathwork facilitator. And I've been hesitant to be my full self in my business as a breathwork facilitator because my full self is not what you would typically see in a spiritual leader. I am very intense. I have no chill. I'm very flawed. I'm very judgmental. I just have a lot of things that are counterproductive to what I speak about and what I teach. But that is why I am here. That is why I got into self-development, into breathwork, is because I wanted to better myself. And I accepted a long time ago that I will never be perfect, and you won't be either. So I have just decided I am going to be my full self. And as I mentioned earlier, I am an actor. So I love entertaining. I love making people laugh. And I want to bring more of that into breathwork. And it's funny because John Paul Crimmy, the person who certified me as a breathwork facilitator, is very funny, is very outspoken. And I love that about him. And I don't know if it's because I'm a woman. I thought that I couldn't do that too, or I couldn't do it to the same extent, but that is truly who I am. So I am just letting that flow and embracing my authenticity. So what that's going to look like in terms of the podcast is exactly what I just said. There's going to be more humor, more storytelling, more honesty, bluntness, tough love. And there's so many spiritual teachers, influencers, healers that I look up to who are very calm, who are very grounded. And of course, they all have their own little spice and things going on. But I found myself listening to their podcasts, watching them on Instagram, just being kind of bummed that I'm not like that, and wondering if I should even continue as a breathwork facilitator. And then I was like, no, this is actually a good thing that I'm not like that, because I get to be me. I get to be different. And if I exist and if I resonate with someone like John Paul, and I resonate with more intensity and more bluntness, then there's other people who do too. And of course, I can also be calm. People describe me as calm all the time, with very calm energy, and I'm just like, what? I just assume that I'm disassociating in that moment or compartmentalizing something. But also I have done, over a decade of work on myself. So naturally that's going to affect my energy in a positive way. So anyway, that's the gist of this episode. This is just a little check-in, a little venting. And I did have a question from my Google Forms, which I do still want to do. I exited out of it, so I'm going to pull that up really quick. I do still want to do the questions. So I'm going to keep that link in the bio. I'm going to keep that link in the description. So please, if you have a question for me, if you want me to speak about a certain topic, I love that, but I am also going to just riff on random stuff and tell stories and swear and be neurotic. Okay, so this question comes from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. And this is his question. When you pour milk into cereal, does the milk become a sauce, a garnish, a broth, a marinade, a soup, a side dish, a type of au jus? I actually had to look up how to pronounce that. Probably still pronounced it wrong. A meal all on its own, or something else? Okay, so when I first got this question, I did meditate on it and I thought about it probably too much, but I'm gonna have to go with out of these choices, I'm going to have to say a broth. I think that the milk becomes a broth because, like, in a soup, I guess you could just have a broth on its own, just like how you can have milk on its own. But when I think of a broth, I think of putting things in it, and like cereal is what is going into the milk or the broth. So it's kind of like a cereal soup, I guess you would say. So I don't know how much more I can say about this topic, but I love questions like this. I love food questions. I am going to do an episode just on food because that has been a big thing for me, my relationship with food, my relationship with my body. If you know, you know. And I do have some insights that can help people who may not be as far along on that journey with food and their relationship with food and with their body. I am far from perfect with it, but I have come a long way. So stay tuned for that if you are a fellow food addict or if you have some disordered eating going on. That will be a good episode for you. But anyway, that is all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon.